Last session also in the evening, and people would have had a long day. So we try to keep it as crisp and as lively as possible. And happy to get people to participate also in this discussion as well. So we have a very good panel with us, people who make homes, people who outfit homes, people who do the packaging for pharmaceuticals, and also people who do caregiving at home as well. And we also have people who are into sector of technology. What I try to do is set the context for the discussion now. I think first and foremost, when we speak about quality, what does come to mind? Is quality static, or is it a moving target? What's your thought? The dynamic target keeps moving up, and what used to be good quality maybe 20 years ago or 10 years ago, 5 years ago is not relevant anymore. Be it a delivery, be it a product. You expect a product to last its whole lifetime without, it may become obsolete, but will not get spoiled. So with that in mind, when you speak about quality, is something which is maybe relevant today, tomorrow it won't be relevant anymore. But we also have services and products which are kind of encompassing both the realms, and a delivered quality of any type depends on the number of variables around it. So to start off these discussions, I would first request Prashant from OrgLife to give a context about what he does and what quality means for him and how he is able to address those challenges. Prashant, if you don't mind explaining about your company as well, like what are you doing, and how are you different from any other company of that type?
Yes. So good evening everyone. I am Prashant from OrgLife Healthcare Private Limited, and our company is into home healthcare services. When we say home healthcare services, we are basically providing nurses, caretakers and physiotherapists and doctors at home to take care of the patients at home. When we say patients, there are the conditions where the patients can't go to the hospital. So major categories elderly patients who needs their to take care of activities of daily living. They are suffering maybe from Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's. Then some people who are recovering from the surgical processes, so post-surgical recoveries. So we send our nurses, caregivers and physiotherapists to take care of these people basically. And the major part of our business is the caregiving part, so which is the one. Now I will come to your question, sir, what is the quality for you? So when we come to quality, basically quality for me or for our organization is a peace of mind. My customer, whatever he is paying, and he receives the value in terms of that. That is the major thing. So once he is satisfied, the quality is delivered. So to deliver the quality in our business, the consumer is different, the customer is different. Now how will you say that? Because the guardian, the person who hires the service is a guardian, he is the son of the person, or he is a wife, child or someone else. But the patient is the person, consumer is the one who is receiving the care. So in my case, I have to keep both of them happy. So the one who is purchasing the peace of mind and the one who is receiving the care. So we have to deliver the care with a very compassion and expertise as well. So when we see the nurses and physiotherapists, they are very qualified, they are certified, and we see their certification. But as a part of caretakers, when you see, they come from uneducated strata of the society. So uneducated means level 10, or like in the morning Dr. Neha has also said, they work with ASHA workers. So for particularly this thing, we have to keep them continuously train on the things. They are, we need to educate them, what are the diseases they are going through, what people are going through, their mental state of the people. So there are many factors, means care, compassion, even talking behavioral pattern as well. So there are major challenges for caretakers, and this is very difficult to measure as well. Yes, we also take customer satisfaction survey and NPS score, but that also depends on the peace of mind as well. So for me, sir, it is a quality of the care, means what the person pays and what value he gets in return is the quality. So for everyone, for every organization, uh, the definition of the quality might differ. For our, this is the thing.
Okay. So
Yeah.
for you, excellent quality would define what in terms of what's an excellent quality? Or we say, not in terms of what is going right or what could go wrong. How many parameters are there which could go wrong in this case of
So see,
Of
when
your-
we measure excellent quality, so basically the longevity of the patient. Once the elderly person receives, comes in us, so how long he stays with us, how many referrals he generate in the period, and how many means how his behavior pattern changes. Because an irritated customer will destroy your business. He will not refer you clients and everything, but at the other end, a satisfied customers give you multiple patients. We have seen the things like once we start in a particular society, the entire society means almost 3 to 4 elderly people come from that same society. This is how we need to have that this person has referred the person. So this is the quality.
I think eventually we'll all need your services at some point.
Yes,
in time.
absolutely.
No.
The elderly care or this home health care market is growing at a very high pace. Right now, we are at almost 8% of the elderly population, which is right now, and that will be the burden on the society. By 2050, will be up to 20% of the share. So, home health care is a future, sir.
Thank you.
Because it reduces the cost of hospitalization as well. So I would, if someone from the insurance sector, I will also suggest think on this to cover home health care into the insurance coverage part. So this will help people to opt for more and more healthcare services, and
That's a-
it
that's
will
a
be
great
beneficial
point.
for them as well.
Yes.
Yes.
So Abhishek, you are quite a strong proponent of TQM in terms of ISO 9001. You've spoken about other forums as well. That is very, ISO 9001 is like a parameter of quality, and you also are a black belt in Six Sigma. How would you, keeping this as an example, do you think it's possible to write a SOP for this kind of a business and also measure it and also look at what are the possible things which can go wrong to ensure that quality is delivered?
Just in brief, to be very honest, yes, we can do that, irrespective of structured, unstructured. So, I had quality for Bonito Designs. I joined, in the last year. Then we have decided to, laid up the foundation by assessing the maturity of an organization. And, we came to understand that let's fix the foundation first, because it's again an unorganized sector where we are providing the interior design solutions to the company. Okay, what happens is that in the process is, for example, it starts from quality control, okay, which is an older model of 1920, 1940, which we generally call it as a post-mortem, okay, where the person is already killed and you are doing the analysis, and then, you're going back and then, you're feeding it up back to the system, the various inputs, stuff like that, okay. Then the next role comes is the quality assurance, which absolutely is a proactive approach, okay, which actually talks about, absolutely the process-oriented approach, apart from the product-oriented approach, which quality control is having. The next step which we need to look at is the quality management. When we say quality management, after QA, quality assurance, the quality management is something which is system-oriented in nature, okay. And after quality management, once you reach up to that level, then we go to TQM, which is total quality management, which is called as customer-centric approach. That's why, we keep on sharing our esteemed leaders and the speakers who are, telling it to us that the voice of the customer is changing and stuff. It's absolutely possible, no doubt in that. So when I joined earlier in the last year, in the month of January, we were creating a roadmap of, what we are looking at in the next 5 years. And, fortunately, we got, with a lot of efforts, we got ISO 9001 certification in the last month from TUV Nord. And, we are the first one in the, personalized interior designing celebrity design brand who is ISO 9001 to 2015 certified, right? Now, there is a major difference in that, okay? The major difference, if I look at, is the risk-based approach thinking. Now, it applies in two ways. One, at an organization level, which we call it as SWOT or PESTEL or whatever you call, but generally to our experience, SWOT is the best one to use it. Okay, that's ideal way of reaching up to the goals, identifying it at an org level. Okay, the second aspect is when you get into the processes, when you get into the design and all, make sure that you use the terms called as FMEA, which is failure mode effect analysis, which is again a risk-based thinking tool where you are actually making sure that the failure doesn't happen. Okay, and you are taking some sort of countermeasures just before happening that. So that kind of approach, if it is there, definitely we can set up the right metrics in place. But the more important part in terms of TQM is the principles which we are talking about. Okay, the principles are very straight. Customer focus is one principle. Okay, it's very simple to say a simple word, but as soon as you go deeper, it's very hard to practice and preach and sustain that. Okay, the next again comes up as a leadership commitment. Then fact-based decision making. Okay, not an assumptions or your previous experiences or stuff, right? Then the strategic thinking comes into picture, where you are putting up the strategies in place, right? Then relationship management is again one of the major key ingredient in the total quality management, which makes everybody to have the ownership transfer to the respective departments, because we firmly believe that it's like I do I check principle. For example, we do get designs from the designers. Now they are the subject matter experts of their own field, right? Now as a quality head, the question always comes to in my mind saying that why do I need to check? So generally people talk about, okay, we have just like just to quote an example of Licious, they're talking about 500 plus quality checks, stuff like that. But it actually hurts us in terms of a proactive way of approach, because you don't ever believe on your process. So the simple approach is fix the inputs in terms of 6 M's, which is man, machine, mother nature, material, measurement. Okay, and then set up the process and don't worry about the output. It will always be good. If you fix the inputs and the process, it will always be good. So we believe on the zero loss mindset. When I say zero loss mindset, it generally talks about zero rework, okay, zero defects, right? On time deliveries. Okay, so it's absolutely related to PQ, CD, SM, which we are talking about. So it is directly related to the business, right? So once your projects are moving faster, for example, in quality, if you look at, we are putting it up at a strategic level, the OKR cascading, which is generally called as a Hujin-Kanri principle. Where whatever the top leaders are saying, whether my bottom people are actually aligning with the same thing or not in terms of their key deliverables. That's very important to match. Once you connect the dots, it becomes easier for you to make sure that the success is, guaranteed. So that's one way of looking at it. Like I said, Aristo is one of a great, philosopher who always used to say that, it's not an act, it's a habit. When it becomes a habit, we do improve each and every day, each and every hour, each and every conversation, whatever we are having over here, we are taking learnings, continually improving ourselves. But, the point is that, you should never stop getting better. That's the only way, where you can actually embed these systems up. Okay, that's how it is.
Yeah. That's great points, Abhishek. I was just wondering when you were talking that, how much of it is science and how much of it is art. For example, that what you spoke about, the mannerisms of a patient and a caregiver, that is a lot to do with the EQ part of it. And many things which you spoke about also in terms of customer happiness and delivery are a EQ part of it. And I would want to spin it over to Manish with a BSc background. How would you think that you could design a system where these softer aspects, which are also important for the feel of the quality to the end consumer. Many of the things which we do today have an end consumer at mind. It is not that we are just giving that, it's like making food from a recipe. I may be recipe quite well, but my output might not be very good. There is some art also somewhere. So I would like to request Manish to give your inputs.
Thank you. Thank you, Jasdeep. I think you referred to a very important tool that most of you might have seen, used or experienced, which is BSc Balanced Scorecard, Kaplan-Norton model. You also referred to Shin-Connery model, something similar for strategy development and deployment. But now, there is a tweak. If you really listen to all the speakers, one important aspect they all brought in was change. Change from the hardcore targets of CSAT, NPS to experience. And experience to a great extent is, I would say, subjective. It is different for different people, and hence the measurement of customer experience is now actually, I would say, taking a lot of importance. We have different methods of customer experience, and if you want to lay this over this model of balanced scorecard, then I would also suggest that we need to really rethink how the balanced scorecard should be deployed. We'll probably give a context to this. We have 4 elements into balanced scorecard, starting with the financial. We are in business because we want to earn money. I think we all know that. Without money, we don't do any charity, so business is to earn money. And obviously that takes the first goal of balanced scorecard or strategy of any organization, followed by customers. The financial growth, financial objectives can be achieved only when you do something good for customers. Followed by that is our processes, how well are our processes, how do you support your customers. And the fourth, which is most important, again touched by many speakers here, which is the learning and growth, the people perspective. But now, if you force fit all these things, the traditional way of balanced scorecard into the businesses that we are now really talking about, it may not work. And I don't think, we should blame the balanced scorecard model. I think what we have forgotten is change is the only constant. Balanced scorecard is an approach, it's a concept, and we need to make sure that we customize it to the businesses that we are looking into. So for example, when you talk of the financial aspects, the financial goals, it's no longer profitability, return on investment, it is probably to do with ESG now. The carbon emission, there are so many elements which are now getting incorporated in our financial measurement. We need to really think about that. When it comes to the customer, it is no longer only talking about CSAT or NPS. We have to talk about customer experience, we have to talk about the social media response, we have to talk about many other things which are very important from a customer point of view. We also heard a very good term from Tapan, which is ROC, a fantastic measure. We should think about these innovative metrics to be incorporated in our balanced scorecard methodology, because that is going to drive the next element, which is our processes. Now, processes in old times, we were thinking of documenting it, we are thinking of following consistently, we are thinking of auditing them consistently. Now we need to change that perspective and think of how can we automate, because automation will drive consistency, automation will drive your cost of processes going down. It will also give human I would say leverage to think of complex processes. The simple ones definitely can be automated, which will give you consistent output. So we need to think of automation, we need to think of technology, we need to think of those elements when we talk of the processes part. And fourth, which is the last but the most important one, which is learning and growth. No longer, we have people in the classroom sitting, attending trainings. No longer we are measuring how many hours of the year, somebody is spending on learning and growth. Gone are the days. The training learning everything is anytime, anywhere. So we have to think from that point of view. We have to start thinking how our hybrid workforce can adopt this learning and growth culture. How can they really relate and how can they really engage to this particular concept of learning? And learning is all about new technologies, new way of doing things, new way of measurements, new way of doing their own things, work-life balance for that matter. All these things actually start playing a very important role, and in my opinion, if you really look at these businesses that we are now discussing or we heard, they have changed over a period of time from our traditional ones, and our traditional balance scorecard also needs to get tweaked or customized to these businesses. We need to think of different metrics, we need to think of different approaches, we need to think of different processes, how we can enable, and that's where balance scorecard I think will be very, very successful. So I would say, it's not about whether that approach, whether that concept is applicable. It is definitely applicable. It is a concept. So we just need to think how we can, customize it to the new business, the new way of doing business. And that definitely will help us, all the businesses, succeed in a different way.
Thanks, Manish. That's brilliantly done. I think I want to just step back a bit from quality into regulatory parts as well. And we were discussing about medicines, like whenever you pop a pill, how many of us see what's written on the pill? You look at the packaging, just turn it on and pop the pill. And so many times in many products, we look at the packaging, we do not know the product inside. So you are into packaging, Ashish. If you could just share some insights into the packaging, the crucial part of packaging in quality, and also if you could little bit tell us about the regulatory parts, which are also important in your sector.
Thank you, Jasjit, and thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We are into basically packaging we are in manufacturing of primary packaging for tablets and capsules for pharmaceutical industry. So basically, therefore, as they say, medicine is as good as its package. So therefore, we have a arduous task to deliver the right product to the end customer, and therefore our motto is to provide health care through affordable, safe, secure and sustainable packaging for medicines. And in our company, how we have gone about it, I'll just touch upon it quickly. Of course, the regulatory part, which is ISO 9001:2015, ISO 15378 for GMP, good manufacturing practices. We also have US DMF type 3 for our blister and strip products. So all these are in place. The regulatory part is very important, as all our customers are pharma companies. And as you know, this is perhaps one of the most important pillars of our nation's development. And in a small way, we are contributing to it. Most of the big customers are with us, like Cipla, Pfizer, Cadila Pharma, and many others. So therefore, this internal process, we have therefore developed this strong internal business excellence processes for the ISO and GMP, etc. At the same time, we are very well equipped with hygiene, safety, and other factors. However, I'll quickly touch upon this, how we are giving this safe and secure products directly to the customer. We have developed a product called PackMark. It's our patented product. It was funded by the government of India under a special scheme. We were entrusted to develop a very low-cost anti-counterfeit technology for fake medicines. So this was a government-funded project. We have completed the project and the engine is ready. Basically, it uses invisible digital watermarking. You all must have seen, earlier there was this holograms, then barcodes, QR codes, etc., which were quite easily sort of copyable. If someone had the will, they could have copied. We have come up with this invisible watermarking, digital watermarking, where we use the encryption technology. So suppose the Cipla brand, the Cipla logo, we encrypt some data digitally, like manufacturing date, composition, and therefore it is invisible to a normal eye, and however visible to an industrial camera. And we have also developed now an app which any common man like us can read in any store like Noble or whatever. This is almost, we have already engaged a Oracle Group company called Quantic to develop it as an IT solution. And I'm hoping, this is the first time in India, and hoping by next 6 months it will be in market. And I wish every one of you will have this app in your mobile. So this is my dream sort of project. So this is the safety and security of our product. And just I'll quickly touch upon sustainability in our packaging industry. Slowly we are moving into more sustainable technologies. Like, most important for any medicine is moisture property, moisture barrier property. Therefore, initial tendency was to go for multi-layer packaging. Aluminum. Aluminum is of course the best layer. Then LDP, PVC. So you increase the number of layers, make it more moisture proof. But however, they were very unsustainable products. And slowly now mono-layer technology is coming in place with single layer and which will be recyclable. And I'm looking at around 2030 by which almost 70% of our medicinal packaging will be through mono-layer products. So these are the few steps. I think directionally, as we say, we have to fix the direction first and velocity second. So direction I think is set. Velocity will follow. Thank you, Jasjit.
Thank you, Ashit. That's very enlightening. Thank you so much. And as they say, what you cannot measure, you cannot improve. And we discussed that change is most important. I think it's over to you, Omkar, to kind of conclude on this, that how will metrics play a very major role in whatever quality is to be delivered now, and how they are scalable enough to deliver a quality as the bar moves higher and higher.
Thank you. Hi everybody. So I'm Omkar. I represent a real estate company. So very different from the background which most of you people have come from, and where quality again is somebody which is very close to everybody's heart when you buy a house. So quickly coming to what you said, I firmly believe it's essential to measure everything that you do so that you know where you stand. So you cannot improve what you cannot measure. That is normally what we say in quality. And I'll tell you honestly that most of the times we see that it gives you a any metrics, in business excellence, or why it is critical to business excellence. Is any metrics will give you an indication of where you stand currently, your current state of affairs in your organization. What are you doing, where you are, how do you improve, what are the delays in delivery, where are the customer complaints. So you have to keep on measuring, and I'm sure you spoke about training, I think, at the end of it, from people perspective. So training again, how effective your training is, very few people measure. People generally I've seen in at least our industry measure, number of trainings. We did so many trainings, online, offline and all, but do you really see whether they are effective? How do you measure the effectiveness? Many a times in HR I ask this question, I don't get a reply. Behavioral training specifically. On skill set, yes you can, but behavioral training is something which is tough to crack in a way. Takes time to gauge, whether a person's communication skill has improved or not, so on and so forth. So coming back, I would say there are definitely advantages of measuring in business excellence. Business excellence models are built in such a way that you analyze trends, right? And all these trends, where do you get from? From these measurements, these metrics. So probably all your metrics about sales, your metrics about your defects have to be closely tracked. One of the important metrics which I would always focus on is benchmarking. That is very critical to everybody's business. Where does your competitor stand? Where do you stand? Where do you need to go? And I think that is also in certain industries, it is that data is not very forthcoming. Especially in our industry, when it comes to customer satisfaction, that data is not publicly available. You buy a house, where do you complain? Of course, now the law is there, and but hardly ever people go to the court in those cases that you feel that one tile is defective or something, or there is a leak in your plumbing. normally people just, talk to the developer and sort it out. And I doubt very few people of us will challenge a developer. I'm not pushing my might, but the industry is such, people easily pass on complaints to FMCG. It's quite easy, there is a forum and all, consumer forum, I believe. But in pharma, it is very highly regulated. Real estate is regulated now to a certain extent, but still long way to go. We have to still mature in terms of understanding about quality. Somebody said cost of poor quality. For me, the cost of poor quality is zero, almost 0.015%. Like if some customer complains, I can actually change the entire marble of his house free of cost. Doesn't matter to me. And I know it sounds difficult. For me, cost of poor quality is nothing. I don't have a repeat customer also most of the times. There are people who buy houses once or twice in their life, probably not from the same developer. See, there are unique challenges. When you talk a customer buying a toothpaste, same brand of toothpaste, same brand of soap, fine, he will buy in for 20 years, that's okay. People don't keep on buying houses. So I think on a totally different perspective when you think of buying houses and customer quality, what is important to them. He can't go to court. They do go, but not much. Yes, there are certain cases. They just crib. And then for me, I have to get the voice of customer. So I have to measure. Coming back to the entire business excellence is, for me, excellence is understanding the need of the customer, the voice of the customer, and despite whatever the industry trend is, despite whether he can get help from the regulatory bodies or not, I have to go and help him. And that is a struggle because people don't understand that. So that is how I come back to the only thing is measure, keep on tracking what is the pain point of the people, keep on tracking whether internally we are the best in terms of delivery. Because I'll tell you, most of you don't buy a house because it is of good quality, right? You buy a house because of a location, right? It is because you like the location, you like the price, you like that locality. You know, some DMart is nearby, you feel okay, fine, good, I'm happy, I'm done. So, but very few of you will buy a phone just because of something else. It's because of the quality, or maybe any other, even a vehicle, motor vehicle, because you know the quality. People don't buy apartments or bungalows because they know that this is a good quality. Yes, brand helps. Typically, they go for larger brands. We get a lot of NRI customers. I was in Godrej earlier. I have worked with Mahindras in real estate. These are good brands. So people do go before they have seen the property. They just book on the phone from US that okay, I will buy one house or two houses from you. But that is mostly from the delivery side. They know that okay, this developer will not cheat us, he will deliver. So for me, delivery is more of a quality parameter than quality from a customer satisfaction as a product parameter. So I will not take much of your time. Thank you anyway.
Thank you, Omkar. I think, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are as excited as I am with all these views, and these are kind of broad spectrum of views which we have heard. And I thank the panelists for being very, very forthcoming and also explain the business models as well. But we're not done yet. We just would request all of you to give one last word, one X factor for quality, and we can start with you, Prashant, and probably end with you, Manish. Manish will have the last word.
Yeah.
As I earlier said, quality is what customer buys and what he receives the value in terms of the amount he paid. So return of customer is the best word we learned today, and return of customer can be a best parameter for quality.
Ashish, in one line.
For me, I think the X factor is how to reach the best quality to the directly to the masses. That is B2C.
Abhishek.
For me, I mean, quality is whatever voice of the customer we have captured, we have to comply to that, right? That's what the customer satisfaction means. And like we said before, that the customer satisfaction which was there before now becomes a delight, and that delight has converted into a customer satisfaction now. So that kind of scenario is there, and the quality definition keeps on changing. But it's a never-ending process and a continuing improvement journey.
Quality for me is, as I said, measure to improve, keep on improving. It's a long way to go.
Quality for me is a mindset. You know, it is all about people, their mindset and their urge to excel in whatever they do. So that for me is quality.
Thank you. You know, 10 years ago, if you would talk about what quality is, people would have said is what we give. Now what we hear is quality is what we get. So quality has changed a lot. Now it is from the side of the recipient, not side of the giver. So that is the major takeaway from me. Thank you very much for being great panelists. Thank you very much for being a great audience as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.